Hey, what's up my friends? There are two crucial things I think you need to know about this vacuum sealer before you spend your money on it. I'm gonna talk about those two things in just a moment, but first let's go over the features and what it's like to actually use this. So this is a rechargeable vacuum sealer or preserver. And rechargeable, it is a USB-C recharger right here. It does come with a short USB-C cable. It's about a foot long, foot and a half long, with USB-C on one end and USB on the other end. The operation of this is pretty simple, and I'm gonna show you that and demonstrate it in just a second. But first, just wanna show you this. This part of this is pretty unique because a lot of these smaller rechargeable vacuum sealers are not compatible with wet ingredients. That's what makes this one very unique. This one is compatible with wet ingredients, but you need to know how to use that. And it's not any wet ingredients. So let's talk about it. So you have this little chamber right here on the end of the battery pack. This is the operation button right here, by the way, and I'll show you something about that in just a second. But so this little container is removable from the unit. This is where you collect the moisture. Now there's two things pretty specific about this. One is it has a max fill line. So you can't just vacuum up any kind of anything. Or if you do, you're gonna have to take a break, empty this container when it hits that max line, and then put it back on. Now, sometimes if you're dealing with raw meats or something like that, you obviously want cleanliness, and sanitization is a big deal. So making sure you keep this thing clean, both for sanitization and for operation, because this suck hole right here, I don't know what else to call it, sorry for that. This hole right here is very small. And so when that gets clogged, obviously it's not gonna work as well it needs to. So you can remove the rubber gasket from the front side of it right here, and you can clean that part, and you can clean this part. When I clean this part, I take a tiny little pipe cleaner and I just run it through this hole right here to make sure that I get everything out. Now, when you reinstall the rubber gasket, you wanna make sure you line those two holes up, because again, if you don't line those two holes up, it's just not going to operate. And then I push down on it because those do stick out, and the rubber gasket gets put into it perfectly, like right there. Now, there's another couple parts that you need to clean or understand how to clean. You also have a rubber gasket on the outside of this. That's what seals the moisture compartment to the battery. Being sanitary is an issue again. So clean this really good, and then you can just put this rubber gasket back on after you've cleaned that, and then you can put this back on as well. So now let me actually demonstrate how this thing works. So as far as bags go, it comes with a couple of different sizes. You have this smaller size bag right here, which we definitely use more often for like stuff that I'm gonna demonstrate right now when we're preserving fruits or vegetables or stuff like that. This one we use much more for larger cuts of meats like steak or chicken, or you know what meat is. Now these bags are very simple. They're a Ziploc style bag and they are reusable. Just realize that if you do use raw meat in one, again, cleaning is gonna be very, very crucial, particularly around the vacuum seal port right here. Getting all of this clean and sanitized is, it's a little bit of a chore, but you can do it. And then you can reuse them. That's one thing that I love about it. And it does come with a lot of these bags. Now, you can seal up the bag just like this. Actually, I'll talk about that in just a second. Let's get our food in here. So I'm gonna fill up these candied these candied oranges that we made. So I'm just gonna throw these in the bag. I'm gonna spread them out a little bit so it vacuums up nice and even. Make sure I'm not in the camera, or I'm in the camera here. And I want to avoid putting anything underneath this vacuum seal port right here. It's not necessary, but it's helpful when you're getting tension or you're getting force on the actual vacuum seal. That's just helpful. So these Ziploc bags, you can run your finger along them, get them sealed up. They also come with these little clips that are nice and handy for making sure the bag is completely sealed. If I just place them on like that, and then run them across, that's going to ensure a good seal on this Ziploc right here. So when I'm getting ready to vacuum seal this, my operation is this button right here. It does have an operational LED. So when I push that and it's lit up green, that means battery is good to go. If it lights up red, that means the battery is low and it needs to be charged. Now, I have depleted this thing over many seals. It lasts a good amount of time, and it only takes probably about 30 to 45 minutes to recharge in full. But honestly, since I've owned this thing, I've only recharged it maybe 2 or 3 times, and we use it quite a bit. So in order to seal, super simple. All you have to do is put the rubber gasket on top of the seal port right here, and you press the button. It's gonna start to seal up the package, just like this. And then it's gonna auto shut off as soon as it's sealed up. So you don't have to worry about when to turn it off or breaking it because of, you know, it sucking too much when it's not necessary. It's vacuum sealed it up really nicely. It's airtight, it's holding that air. Whenever I seal things like this, or especially meat, I usually leave them out for about 10-15 minutes just to make sure it hasn't pulled any air back in, because if it's pulled air back in, that means my seal up here wasn't good enough. So I need to reseal this and then vacuum it out again. It's just a precautionary, so you don't put these things away, think that they're sealed, and then come back later and they weren't actually sealed, and they're not the freshness that you had intended. So my friends, we have absolutely loved having this tool around the kitchen. It's small, takes up very little cupboard or countertop space, easy to use, fast to recharge, long battery life. And this again, this liquid trap is so unique. So I hope this video has been helpful in deciding whether or not this is the right vacuum sealer for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye, everybody.